Please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the seatbelt sign is turned off.
Okay, folks, we have arrived. We are in the Finger Lakes of New York. Quick little background. It's where I grew up. It's where I'm from. So obviously all my family's here. We have been lucky enough to make the trip back to New York, I don't know, the last 5 or 6 years, typically in the spring, but it's kind of varied, summer, fall, winter. But this time of year in the spring, in May, is my absolute favorite time to fish in the Finger Lakes. Things are just starting to heat up, warm up. Fish are starting to move shallow, starting to really eat. And it's been some of the best fishing that I've personally experienced, I want to say, anywhere in the country. I will say this. We flew in, arrived yesterday, spent most of the day rigging up the kayak with some upgrades, tweaking some things, making some modifications, and our trip almost ended before it started. I think the first 30 minutes we were here, I was going to close the garage door, and my fingers, my middle finger and my ring finger, were actually in between the side panels of the garage, and as I was closing it, my fingers were right between the pinch point, and it shut right on those two fingers. The thing was fully shut, and I realized it obviously pretty quickly, and I, ripped the door back open, got my fingers out, and I was like in a state of shock. I was just trying to figure out, did I just break my fingers? Ran upstairs, threw ice on them. It didn't hurt or anything. I was just thinking, oh my God. Did I seriously just break my fingers? Yeah, we could still fish with broken fingers, but man, that would have been a lot more challenging. Luckily, and I have no idea how, fingers are fine. Actually, minimal swelling. I think that ice really helped. It was kind of a scary moment. I mean, the garage actually left indentation marks of where my fingers got shut. So, I don't know. That stuff's like aluminum, or it's not flexible. So I have no idea how my fingers did not break. The skin didn't even break. So, whew, holy smokes, that was a close call. We're okay. Finished rigging up the kayak last night, and it is ready to go for some spring bass fishing here in New York. The Slayer Max 10 has been a boat that we recently picked up last year for New York, and it is just a phenomenal fishing kayak. In my opinion, it may be overall the best fishing kayak that I've ever been in. Yes, I love my Titan 10.5 back in California, and that's a really, really good fishing kayak, especially out there in Northern California where we're fishing some fast-moving waters like the Delta, Clear Lake, big water where there's some potentially big wind, big waves. But I like coming back to New York specifically because of this boat. It's such a small package, it still has a lot of the same features. It is really easy to move around. It's not heavy at all. I mean, some of the launches that we'll take this to, we'll have to wheel it almost 100 yards to the shore, but that's no problem. And I think the other thing too, and don't get me wrong, I love fishing in Northern California. It's got some of the best fisheries in the country, but there's something nice about coming home, coming back to basically where I grew up, where I began kayak fishing. Gosh, back in 2012, had that little green kayak, fished around the Finger Lakes, upgraded to Slayer Propel 13, I think a couple couple years later and took it around as well. And I think it's kind of like those moments that, you know, bring back memories when I come back nowadays of being home, rigging up the kayak. I'm really thinking that with some of the upgrades that we did, I have this boat just how I want it. Of course, the true test will be taking it out on the water, but I'm pretty proud of this, and I think you guys will enjoy the setup, how we have this thing rigged out for fishing. It is tournament ready too. We will fish one tournament while we're here in New York. We're going to be here for a few weeks, so we should get plenty of trips in. FYI, apparently the rain likes to follow me, because as soon as we left California, it seemingly got nice, and as soon as we came to New York, it seemingly got rainy. That can be a good thing this time of year too. But anyways, I think the easiest way to show you guys the kayak is to put the chest camera on and give you a run through, maybe bow to stern, and show you everything that we have done to this kayak. All right, so let's get started. We got the front hatch right here. It's where we keep our battery. That is a little Bioino 12 volt 9 amp hour battery, perfect for that little tray. In the past, I've taken this out and put a little dry bag in there, but I don't need it. I've got all my tools in my black pack, which I'll show you in a second. This is nice because it comes right out and I can charge it over there. This is actually powering our graph, and you can see we just got these quick connect clips. We'll walk over here, take our cover off, let that turn on. Nice little front hatch for this boat. This area I usually put my dry bag, or my camera bag really, and then I just seal her shut for the day and we're off. So of course we've got the propel drive, forward and reverse, one of my favorite features of the Native Watercraft kayaks. Right here is a little gear track tool caddy. Got some scissors. We've got a lure knocker, FYI, one of the most useful things you can have on your boat and save you a lot of baits. And then a small pair of pliers that also double as split ring pliers. So going back towards the graph, on that side, you can see how this has these removable plates on both sides. The other one's underneath the tool caddy, but these actually are nice because you can drill into these things for wiring and such. Obviously we have our graph wiring coming from that front battery right here, and if you mess up or you don't like it, you can always get another one of these plates and re-drill. But that's where we got our wiring coming out right to a Ray Marine graph. And then right here, and these are on both sides, we have little Plano 3600 size box storage areas, and this is a Plano Edge series. This is all my terminal tackle. I like to tuck that right there so it's out of the way but still accessible if we need it. Coming to this side, we'll go back here. So let's just get this right out of the way, because one of the best features of this boat, after registering it of course, is the NKA 180. So Newport Vessels NKA 180, same motor that we're using in California, fits perfectly for the Slayer Max 10. We've got this on a pulley, and this is the only other modification that I need to make. I added a little cleat, like a clip cleat for the rope, but this will do for now. But you can see where it's running through the side of the kayak all the way to our NKA 180, and of course that pulley is to pull it and lock it in place if we need to pull it up, and then of course drop her back down. You know, motors add a lot of convenience for fishing kayaks, especially if you're like me and you like going miles and miles away from the ramp, and at the end of the day you just turn that motor on and you're off. Oh, new feature we did add is the Yak Attack paddle holder. So a gear track accessible item. Really nice to have this. I actually put one of these on my Titan, same location, but really cool to have this as a paddle holder. You don't really use the paddle much in these boats, but it's nice to have it right at the ready. If we pull the drive up, obviously it would be down if we're using the boat, but the seat, these boats come standard with a tray, kind of the junk drawer as we refer it as. Not much junk in there. You've got some line, a marker, extra fob, some sunscreen. Really just a spacious area to have whatever you want to throw in there throughout the day. I'll put baits in there, soft plastic, stuff like that. Nice utilization of space for the seat. Another addition we added was a kayak cushion, and I will say this, these guys are amazing. The seats are very comfortable as is. If you spend a lot of time sitting in particular, or just fishing, this is a really inexpensive way to add some comfort to your boat. And I like this because it adds a little bit of height to the seat too. So highly recommend a kayak cushion for any kayak. In the back, we've got our power. This is a Bioino 50 amp hour, 24 volt battery, lithium ion of course. What's really cool with these Newport kits nowadays is you can buy the motor and you get this kit with a quick connect kit. You don't have to splice wires or trim anything up, and it allows you to really just plug and play like so. Our power's already on, we're connected, our throttle is connected. You just need that fob and turn her on. And then she's running. So I really like having the 50 amp hour battery. Gives me plenty of power to run that motor all day and probably cover anywhere between 6 and 10 miles depending on how much of the throttle I'm using. So just unplug that, and what's nice too is we've got charging and power right here, so we can charge this battery without even taking it out at the end of the day. Of course, we've got the wheels on here. These are older, but now Native has their own set of wheels, sidekick wheels, same principle. Nice to have some wheels on these boats. A new addition, this is the new Yak Attack Black Pack. This is the 13x16 version, fits perfect for the Slayer Max 10. I did add 6 rod holders across the back and to the sides. These are the new rod holders, by the way. They have these leashes which you can use to tether your rods down. I don't typically use them. I think if it's like windy and I suspect there's a chance I might flip, I might put them on there, but I keep them out of the way for now. Definitely nice to have. This Black Pack is a huge improvement to their old Black Pack, which was great, but these are a lot more customizable. You see all these holes throughout the Black Pack are nice drilling or access points to drill not only rod holders but any accessory you can think of. We've got some tie down accessories here. We've got our hinge in the back. We've got some clips right here, so if you want to, you can lock this baby in place, and then of course you can get them out of the way, just fold them down. On the other side, we've got our Scotty locking mount, which is where we have our rear camera set up, and then on the sides, oh, I guess I forgot to add a handle. I'll have to add the handle here, but we've got grab handles to pick this thing up and move it around. But I have this set up basically so it stays in place. All of our bungees are set up so that this thing is nice and sturdy. It's not going anywhere. And again, one of the things that I love about being in New York and this whole setup is it's pretty much light enough to keep fully rigged, maybe with the exception of the motor we'll take out, but we'll just throw that in the back of the truck. We'll drive to the lake or wherever we're gonna fish, we'll unload it, put the wheels on, and I think just adding the net, putting the rods in the rod holders, and of course the PFD is all I need to do to get on the water, and it takes like 1 minute. Kind of nice to not have to rig or outfit the boat as much as I have to in California while here in New York, and I think that's probably, and not saying this for sure, but we'll probably hit multiple places in a day, you know. Tomorrow when we go fishing, we'll try a certain lake, and if it's not happening, we'll just leave. We'll just, you know, take the kayak out, throw it in the truck, just basically fully rigged, drive to another location. Anyways, going back to the Black Pack, you open it up. Not much in there right now. One thing I did add was this light. I think this will just be good for early morning or at night just to see inside. Got some gloves, bag of miscellaneous items. I've got one 3700 box in here. This is what I think I'll be using mostly for this trip. We'll have to see with this weather being kind of interesting. You got some crankbaits, jerkbaits, jigs, slobber knockers, some lipless. Got a couple of boot tails, finesse jigs. Kind of a random assortment that we'll try tomorrow, but fits perfectly in the Black Pack, and there's obviously plenty of room to spare in there. Coming around, mentioned we've got our camera set up here. This is just from California, and again, what's nice about this whole setup and having it pretty dialed from the years and the trips past is I don't really have to bring anything home. I think the things that I actually brought home in the Pelican suitcase that we checked was my camera mount, my reels, my fishing reels, a couple of boxes of baits, some soft plastics, clothes of course, and that's pretty much it. There's not much to bring home. I'm very fortunate to have basically a double of all my kayak fishing gear here in New York so that we can come home and, you know, spend a few weeks here and go fishing, or come home in the summer or the fall or whatever and go fishing. It's been a process over the years. It's not always been like this, kind of gradually building up the gear and the inventory. We've been able to be very fortunate in having a setup that is more than ideal for bass fishing here in the Finger Lakes. Moving on, another accessory that we added was a cup holder. It's a Yak Attack cup holder. I threw my water in there, but I think probably this will be utilized for those early morning coffees. I'm still getting used to Eastern Standard Time on that 3-hour time change. Basically getting up at 6 a.m. is like getting up at 3 a.m. California time, and I haven't adjusted yet, so I think that's going to be crucial for the coffee in the morning. Got the rudder control right here. That's how we steer the boat. Got a roto grip here, which is basically my net holder. Got a new net for this trip. I mentioned that we are fishing one tournament while we're home, so I need a net. This is the exact same net I use in California. Pretty good size for this kayak, but should work just fine. Other tournament stuff that we'll be adding, of course, when we do fish the tournament is a 360 light, got a Visi Carbon Pro, and then we've got our catch board too. So these items I don't need for fun fishing, but for our tournament, we'll bring those out on the water. Got our rod set up right there. Got our rod mule and our PFD. But I think that is it. That's the boat. That's the tour. I'm happy with it. I'm really excited with how it came out, the upgrades we made, the tweaks, the changes. It's balanced weight distribution wise. Electronics are all in working order. The only thing now is we gotta catch some fish. So that is the plan. Tomorrow morning, I think it's Saturday night right now. It's 4:30. Tomorrow's Sunday. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be windy. As soon as we left California, the rain stopped just about and seemed to follow us to New York. But I'm excited either way just to go fishing out here. Change of pace, change of scenery, different bodies of water. I'm not sure how many trips or videos are going to come out of this vacation, and I do feel like it's a vacation to me. It's kind of weird. Like when I think of vacation, I'm not personally one who likes the beach or traveling too much. I enjoy traveling, but I don't know. When I think of a vacation, I think of, back in my college, high school days, the summers off and going to the lake, getting a cottage. That in my mind is like a vacation. And nowadays, coming home, which isn't really home anymore, but coming back to New York, going fishing is my vacation, what I would consider a vacation. So I'm happy to be here, excited to do some fishing. But with that said, everybody, welcome to New York, the Finger Lakes, a beautiful area, some great fishing. Hopefully we'll experience that this time around. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning for our first fishing trip of New York. Alrighty folks, guess we should just get her started. So major game plan, or at least the game plan to start in New York, is to find areas with creeks, shallow water, marinas, stuff like that. We launched, I guess, kind of main lake, and it was 48 degrees, and literally as soon as we got in this creek, 55 degrees. So water warms up faster in these smaller areas, and based on history here, and really in general, it's kind of where you tend to find those big pre-spawn fish and even spawning fish. I don't think there's gonna be any spawning fish, but there's gonna be a good chance that we'll get on some big pre-spawn fish, or at least I hope. Whoa. What was that? Something just like swirled right there. Did you see that? Whoa. Is that something chasing my spinnerbait? Hopefully it wasn't like a beaver or something. Man, oh man, I know it hasn't been too long, but I'm kinda not feeling it back here. Which is strange because the water temp, like I mentioned, is like 6 degrees warmer than the main lake. The only thing I'm really not liking is it is stupid shallow back here. Like 3 foot is the deepest it gets back here, so it just might not be deep enough for them right now. At least they could be still main lake. Keep going further and further back, and nothing is really giving me a positive sign to keep going, other than the fact that the water temp remains pretty warm. I just don't know, but I was prepared to potentially move to a different place today, different body of water, if things were slow or not happening, which may happen. We'll see. We'll probably give it another couple hours at least, but man, you can see I'm out in the middle of the creek and we're in 2 foot. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It looks like, oh, never mind. There we go, finally. Oh no. Well, you know you're in New York when you catch the old slime rocket. Hey, I'll take a bite though. I will certainly take a bite. Well, you're back here. Where are your green friends? Okay, that's maybe a sign. There's something back here. But as I was saying, one of the things I love about the setup here in New York is, dude, it is stupid easy to just transport and move and load and unload. So going to another place would not be a big deal at all. Oh my god, it's a big one. Big pickerel. Ay. Could be a pike actually. No, it's a pickerel. Catching fish, wrong species. Come here, dude. Oh man, it's a monster. Monster pickerel. They get pretty big in here. Look at the teeth on that dude. You don't want to lip these guys. Ugh. Well, you know what? I can't complain because it's still fun getting bit. Tell you, in the summertime, throwing a frog is like insane as far as catching pickerel. Getting these smaller, you know, creeks and canals and such. And those pickerel go nuts for a frog. I think probably 1 out of 3 bites I usually get on a frog in New York is a pickerel. Ultra clear water right here. Stupid clear. Crazy clear. Not feeling it here. So, let's pack up and move on. Alrighty, spot number 2, guys. Right at the tip of Seneca Lake. Obviously another finger lake. It's the canal part of the lake, and it's a place that I frequent just about every time I come home to fish. But that said, it is a spot that it's hit or miss. They're either in here or they're not. And I kind of wanted to just check this out to see if they're in here, because I don't know if the previous spot that we hit today was a kind of a blooper. I'm really surprised they weren't in that creek, especially with that water temp. We're getting similar water temps, 30 to 54. If they're in here, then that gives me a little bit more information about what the fish are doing here in New York. I'd assume they're shallow, I'd assume they're pre-spawn, but I think today, or right now actually, will give us an idea. And this little marina, this little creek is not very big, so if it's not on, we'll know pretty soon, and we'll just jam out of here, and might have to chalk this one up as a loss. Oh, I just had one. Shoot. Right at the boat. Crap. There we go. Oh no! Nice fish. Both bites. The first one I'm like 90% sure it was a bite. That was like 95% sure that was a bite. Hey, being sloppy. I really need to catch one in here. A bass, that is, just to confirm that these fish are up shallow and munching. Weather's been kind of strange lately, and it's going to be a little cooler this week. I don't think that should affect these fish, historically speaking, that is. Trust me, I didn't come to New York to fish offshore and deep. I came here to power fish shallow and catch big largemouth. First trip though, I mean, we got a couple weeks here, so things can change for sure. Oh no! That was a freaking fish. How did he not... Dude. Okay, they're in here. I'm pretty sure these are bass. Oh my god, I got smoked again. What the heck? How are they not getting it? Unless it is a pickerel. Sometimes the pickerel don't eat the bait fully, they'll try to kill it. Stay on. Yeah, that's what we came for right there. Right there. Like, right on cue. Yeah, right on cue. They get thick here this time of year. Good beast. Alright, I knew I was getting bit, and I was pretty sure they were bass. That is a welcome sign. That confirms it. Fish are in the creeks, or at least some are. I think I just picked the wrong one this morning. And that right there would be the definition of a pre-spawn bass. It's about 12 o'clock. And this is good news too, because this canal has a few other marinas that tuck off the main channel that are similar to this, and it's just warmer water and you can catch them this time of year because they stack up in there. Oh no! Dude, they're not like apparently getting it that good, or maybe I'm just kind of sucking. I didn't even feel that bad. Oh yeah. Pre-spawn, baby. Thank you, sir. There we go. There we go. Now we're talking. Almost sent the hook there. Gotta clean up on some grass. Oh no! Oh, it came off! No! Dude, what is up? This fish is not getting hooked. There's a log in front of my bait. Still should have stayed pinned. There you go. Yeah. I think it was two of them. Easy, fella. Junker. Man, I figured that rig had to work. Overcast, a little wind. Alright, I'm happy now. This is a good start to the trip. Good first fishing outing. Got some good information. Said I wanted to explore some new water this time around, and this place, the canal, is, I don't know, it's just kind of like a must. I always have to fish the canal at least once while we're home. Dude, look at that. That's a pike. That is a pike. I've seen them do that before. Nose out of the water. Isn't that insane? Can you see that? I hope you guys can see that. That's crazy. I've seen them do that before in New York. I've never seen it anywhere else. It's so trippy. I don't know why they do that. I've only seen it in the summertime a couple of times on Canisius Lake, but it's pike. It's not pickerel, that's a pike. And they'll like literally put their head above the water and just kind of bob around. I wonder if they're maybe like looking for little ducklings or something. That was a small one, but I've seen some really big ones do that. What a trip. Oh yeah, there's a big one. Daddy. Man, football season. New York football season. Alright, one more. Maybe one more for the road. There's another big one. That's fun. Wow. Alrighty guys, 1:30, and that is going to conclude our first day of fishing here in the Finger Lakes. Got some interesting conditions, a little wet, but nothing too bad. And I'm certainly used to it because of earlier this year in California. But to recap, tried an area today that I thought would have some fish. Creeks, areas like that water should be warming up a little bit faster than the rest of the lake. This one in particular looked really good on Google Maps. It looked like it was long, which is what I liked about it. So I thought for sure pre-spawn fish should be in there, staging, feeding. And that was the idea. Problem is, they weren't there, apparently. That creek didn't go back too far as depth goes. I don't know, 100 yards down the way, it just bottomed out to like 2 foot. What looked like a really big creek on Google Maps really wasn't, because most of it was too shallow in my opinion. But the areas back there that we could fish just didn't get bit. We're throwing a bunch of different baits. The only thing we got bit on back there was the old slobber knocker twice, but unfortunately the wrong species. Can definitely happen here in the Finger Lakes. Pickerel are abundant for sure. Just to check, we went out to the main lake, kind of the mouth of that creek. Maybe we could run into some fish staging. Nothing. Decided to pack up, leave that area, and make our way to the old trusty canal. Again, another creek or marina off the main channel. And I really wanted to come here because I wasn't sure if that first spot was a fluke or if that meant that fish maybe hadn't pushed up into the creeks yet. I intentionally come to New York this time of year because the fish move into these areas, they move shallow, they feed, you can catch them on a lot of moving baits reaction stuff. And this is a spot that, of course, we've frequented many times, but I did want to come here today to see if there were fish in here, because if they weren't in here, that would tell me a lot about what's going on. However, we were fortunate. We came here, we launched the boat, they were here, got a few short strikes on the slobber knocker, picked up a jig, started to slow down, missed a few on the jig, so wasn't exactly sure what was going on, but it didn't take us too long. Got thumped on that jig, set the hook, and it was just a beautiful moment. That was the exact kind of fish that I was looking for in this little canal. Big fat pre-spawn largemouth, and that was a big relief. We stayed here the rest of the afternoon for a few hours at least. Caught a few more on the jig. Big fat chunky pre-spawn fish. I think we had one on the A-rig, but a fun bite out here. This is what I was anticipating would be the bite and the quality fish that we'd catch. Happy with our first trip. We salvaged it at the old canal. Hopefully things just get better from here. But as always, I thank you guys for watching, for coming along. Hope you enjoyed this New York series of spring bass fishing, and I will see you guys in the next video.